for 6, 7 years. I would be out here walking with coffee. I would take them to these little restaurants. I'd just take a prostitute. Come on, come on, come on. You know, she's out in the cold. So I know what it looks like when there is money flowing. You don't see anybody out here walking. They don't do that stuff anymore. You know, they all now are in these senior buildings with these elderly people. And that's sad. That's sad. Because if we still had a social safety net, there would be someone who would come to entertain this elderly guy who's somewhat like me, paralyzed, sitting on, on a wheelchair, can't go anywhere, nobody will take him to the store, if we still had the social safety net. But we don't. So we do what we can do as seniors on a fixed income. We the ones that have the little couple of dollars on the first and the third, which any drug gang banger or drug dealer will tell you, their biggest payday is on the first and the third. Now, if there's such a big, epidemic of drugs, it would look like it would be every weekend. But no, they're biggest. And that's why you find them right now in these senior, they're in that building back there. The only one here in Highland Park. But they're in there. And I know where they are right now. Because you see, we all follow a fixed pattern as addicts. We're never going to change from that pattern as long as we are chasing that drug. They're sitting in front of that little party store right there. I can tell you where they are. And I'll tell you how long they'll be there. And I'll tell you what they're going to do when they go back home. And we have to change this dynamic. So what I do is, I know that I'm dying. I can barely walk. I can barely stand up. But I wanted to be able, one time, to be able to talk to you and to just let you know how much I appreciate what you are doing.
No, I'm not doing much.
You're doing a great service because...
What do you think that is? Because I can't figure it out.
What it is that you don't always have to commentate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't always have to commentate. You can allow... there was this poet, William Carlos, he wrote The Red Wheelbarrow. One of the first, realistic poems, as they call them, and it was very short, and it didn't have any colorful language, just a red wheelbarrow rusting in the... Just sort of like the little photo you did once on that little tricycle. Just there. But it opened up a panorama of images for the viewer, you see. And that's what makes you stand out, And sometimes I can just sit and watch your videos, and I can drift away from the problems that I have at the moment. I can engage in something that is of substance, of value. And that is that when I see a sign like you had in one of your recent uploads about, the sign in Del Rey saying about dumping.
Yeah.
There was more to it than just a sign. And most of your subscribers see that. They know that. They understand that. But they also see something much deeper. And that's what makes you quite significant. Because you see, I am what is known as, I'm a monk. But I'm not the kind of monk that go around, patting people and all that stuff. No, I'm known as a warrior monk. I'm a London, and I get out and I fight for people. That's what we do. With my hands, or with my mind, with my heart, I fight. That's it. It's not always, when people say warrior, they think of, blood and guts. No, When I took on the Detroit Department of Transportation, because of what they're doing right now, I took them on because I knew that they were going to try to shut down Flint. And so, whatever little change I had, I used it. And I took them to court. And they realized that they were dealing. You know, the wonderful thing about when you're someone anonymous, because most of the stuff that I do is anonymous, you know, and humility is that people always assume less than what you truly are. And that's the mistake that they would make with me, you see. Like when I took on Detroit Department of Transportation, they assumed that, oh my God, look at this guy's record. He's a crackhead. He's a bumbling idiot, a fool. And they have no idea that I've got over 50 years experience in law, that I've got landmark cases and law books, you know, that I can destroy them in a courtroom. And when I had to go, and we were doing a conference, and I went downtown to do the conference, and they had 7 attorneys there. One was one of Obama's attorneys from Secretary of Transportation. DDOT's attorney was there. The city had their attorney. I'm there by myself now, you know. And I'm on a fixed income. I don't get but SSI, basically, you know. And I'm going up against all these 7 high-powered people. And they were so terrified of me that they had to tell, because they did not realize that this guy knows what he's doing. They looked at my pleadings and said, my God, this guy knows law. He knows how to write. He knows what a Rule 56 is. He knows how to use it. You know, and now all of a sudden things change, you know. And next thing I know, instead of saying, well, okay, then we'll take you on in the courtroom, it's, Judge, you got to shut this guy down, you know. So that's what I do, you know. I keep my mouth shut. I may decide to go to a rehab center. Just like everybody else. But I'm constantly calculating. I'm constantly observing. I'm constantly asking questions in such a manner that they think that I don't know what's going on. The Gleaners. There's a place where, you know, all the churches, they all go to this warehouse to get food for homeless soup kitchens and all of that. It's called Gleaners. And a bunch of guys, early in the morning, you go there and you can sit out in the back of the warehouse, and every now and then they'll call you and give you a couple of dollars to help unload and load, or and they'll give you some food and things of that nature. But for me, I would be there, not that I had to, but simply because, like I said, I like to find out what's going on personally. I want to record it because guys had been telling me things. And so I'm there and I'm listening to these guys, you know, city officials, city workers, all talking about how they're getting this amount of money. They're going to move this inventory over, you know, and they're talking around all these guys because they think these guys are just homeless junkies. And a lot of these guys are just like me. You see, they are educated. They are not drugged out idiots. Some of them have had good jobs. Some of them have been not only writers themselves, you know, but some have worked in offices. And they're homeless, and they're just sitting there. And you've got these guys running around, you know, in their little suits and ties talking about, well, you know, what Kwame said. Kwame said that we can come, and if we wanted to do this, you know. And everybody is putting all that information together. But now we chat about it among us, you know, the people who, you know, homeless people. We'll chat about it and talk about, yeah, you see it, you see so-and-so, this congressman's wife, did you see her having sex with so-and-so, you know? Well, see, I would take all that stuff and I would write it down because that's what I do as a journalist. I would write all that stuff down, who was there, who said what, and then I stack it up. You know, and then I'll decide, because as I said, if I'm not going to use it, I'm going to give it to somebody else to use. So back then I would give it to ACLU, or I'd give it to Legal Aid. And sometimes I would even call up I call up news reporters about the little girl, that Tangier girl in Hamtramck, who disappeared. You know, I gave them a call and said, I got some information about this for you. You know, so when I say that, I'm a monk that gave because I did bad things in my life. And I've done some bad things to some of these same streetwalkers I'm talking about. That's why I have a conscience. That's why in my last days, I'm going to do all I can for my fellow human beings, because I've done the same thing. I've ripped off some of these girls out here on the street. I've used them just like every other guy, But now, I have to try to atone for those mistakes, because I know what I have done, and it was not just to that person, but I have destroyed a string of people connected to that person. And so I decided to turn myself into someone who will fight and defend those who cannot fight and defend themselves. And that's the type of monk that I'm a Ronin. And the reason I'm in the condition that I'm in is because I fought for Hamtramck, as you know. And these were physical things, So I've got gunshot wounds, stab wounds, and all of that, going up against a different group of people that's been coming into the country than the older people. They brought in the older guys into Hamtramck. And the older people, they were cool. All they did was crawl up on the top roof with their cell phones and call back to Iraq or whatever, And they like to sit around a lot. That's all they did, was sit around. And then the country started bringing in young guys. The young guys that you see making these little donuts in the street and things of that nature, they started bringing in gangs. Now you got these young people from all over the world that are coming here, and they got their pants down across their butts, and they're rapping. You can go in Hamtramck right now, and you can see that they're just like all the other young guys, which means that they're also doing drugs, they're selling drugs, and all of that mess. So it's a different picture now in Detroit when it comes to this scene, which is hidden from most people, because most people only have the narrative of the mainstream media and the politicians. Like the problem with the senior building. And all those seniors, they get burned out. And you see everyone running, and you got handkerchiefs and people fanning themselves. And my God, we got to help these seniors. We can't leave them like this. We're going to get them someplace to stay and all of this. But you never see afterwards what happens. Nobody talks about it. They don't even want you to even bring it up to them. Not even mainstream media, What happens to those people once those cameras are off? When they send you to those motels, it's only for about 48 hours, a couple of days. That's it. So what happens to you after those couple of days that they give you after you've been burned out of your home? No, there's no place to go. There's nobody to talk to you now. Nobody wants to be bothered with you now. And now you've got more homeless people. And that's the reason why I just left out of a building where 2 senior people almost died. I caught one from falling. I think she came from the 7th floor, from falling from the 7th floor down the stairwell in the dark. That's when we had the blackout. You see, there are no emergency lights in the staircase. None. You can't even see your hand in front of your face. And that senior lady almost died. Nobody's come out yet to tell these people that they need to fix those elevators. We're walking. So what about the lady who is on a walker? You know, and she's up on the 6th, 7th floor. If she doesn't pay somebody to go to the grocery store for her, she'll starve. Because you see, for 3 months, we don't have no elevator. I just walked up 10 flights of stairs several times, you know, and I'm losing my legs. I mean, they'll fall out from under me. Just like I don't know when. It's just I'm walking and then boom, and I'm on the ground. And yet I'm walking up 10 flights of stairs, up and down, to go get grocery and things of that nature. Who is addressing that problem? Nobody. Has anybody brought it to the officials' attention, to city workers' attention, to Health and Human Services' attention? Yes. But they will do nothing. Absolutely nothing. So that's why these elderly people, you don't hear them crying and complaining, because they know if they talk about it, because we you know, when the lights went out, we were saying we got to get together. We don't pay rent. We tell this guy if he does not do this or that, he gets no rent. But we have to be one. We have to be united in this. And no one will do that because they know that there's no other place to go. So what am I going to do? I told them about those lights, but I can't do anymore because where am I going to go? There's no places for seniors to live. They want you to think that. You see, when they talk about a senior building now, they're only talking about 10 or 15 units in that building. The rest of it is low income. Now, here's